everyone, I'm Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com, and today's topic is microchips in hands and ID 2020. And the way this even came about was Tuesday of this week. I was doing a Patreon chat and someone had mentioned to me, hey, in Sweden they're doing microchips in hands and there's this ID 2020 thing going on, and I became really curious about it, and I asked someone to put together a question for me that I could focus on because I wanted to get more clarity on this. It didn't necessarily surprise me, but I realize now the time is upon us where this type of thing is going to happen. So I wanted to, for myself, get some clarity, and I also wanted to share that with all of you. So I'm going to read you the question that I focused on and just go from there. So here we go. Hang on. It says, Lynn, please check out ID 2020. This is clearly the direction we're headed, and Bill Gates is a huge proponent. What are your thoughts, and what will this mean? They have already done this in Sweden. And I have a couple links on here of articles where Bill Gates talks about it and he's mentioned in it. And I also put an article as to Sweden and what they're doing, and the thousands of people that have already microchipped themselves for the purpose of just paying, like how you do Apple Cash. This is basically done in your hand. They implant a chip within your hand and it stays there. So I read this question and I thought about it, and as soon as I read it, I heard this phrase, the mark of the beast may not be a number, it may be a transmitter of numbers. And what I took that to mean was, you hear about the mark of the beast and you think 666, or you think there's some symbol or something going on. But in reality, what if it's not that? What if it's putting this chip in a person and that's the actual mark? That is the mark they are putting on you. You are being marked. So it was a very ominous vibe when I got that, and it gave me pause for a minute. I'm not gonna lie. I also get that, there's been a plot to release this virus since they started studying it in the Wuhan lab several years ago. Even Fauci himself had a Freudian slip in 2017. He was a keynote speaker at Georgetown University, and he flat out said within this administration there is going to be a surprise outbreak or something to the effect. I don't know it verbatim, but on my blog itself, you can go in and you can actually listen to him talk about it, and you can get the exact quote from his own mouth because there's many YouTubes out there floating around where he actually did do this speech. So go out there if you are trying to get the exact quote and hear his words. But it was a very almost prophetic way that he announced it, and also with such certainty too. So they knew what they were doing. And I get that, when Trumpet, which I try to say other words instead of his name because I don't want to get flagged by mentioning him too much, but when he won the election, he set back their agenda by 20 years. HRC, she was the chosen one to be in there, and he pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, and he came out victorious, and it really set back what they were trying to do. So because they were so upset about that, they knew they had to do something drastic. The powers that were, I refer to them, to get back on track, because he derailed so many things that they already had in force. They go out there and they try to do this collusion thing. That ended up being a flop. They tried to impeach him. That ended up being a flop. But they had their one wild card that they had been studying, and they were saving this for a rainy day. So they knew exactly what they were doing. The thing that I get, though, when they go to release this thing, they didn't know how China was going to react to it. They assumed that they would contain it. They assumed it was only going to affect maybe that region of the world, just like SARS did and MERS and all that other stuff. But nonetheless, it escaped out. And so what they thought they were going to do was send China a message saying, hey, look who's in control here. And while doing that, put a little bit of a media frenzy on there to get some fear and all those emotions riled up. But that didn't happen. They didn't contain it the way that they thought they were. And now that this virus spread, they took it to their advantage. They saw an opportunity. Not only did they have the ability to control and spread this fear through most every media outlet out there. I mean, how many times do you turn on the media and there's anything positive? How many times do they say, hey, this many people recovered, or hey, this was an effective treatment? They don't. They want you to reside in an element of fear, because fear equals control. And that is something that they've really mastered that technique. I also get that they saw another opportunity. If you can't rally, you can't have gatherings, you can't have open-minded discussions, and it's an election year. I mean, we all know that it's no secret that when Trumpet goes out and he goes to speak, thousands and thousands of people will come rallying behind him. Whether you like him or not, that is actually a fact. And they don't want that happening. They do not want him to win again, and they are not going to stop until they accomplish that. And I also see that by them doing this and spreading this fear, that they can enhance the voter fraud. I mean, there's so many reports of people out there that are passed away but yet still voting, because that's what they want to do. If you can mail in a vote, you can easily manipulate a vote. And let's think about this with just some kind of logical thought process. Walmart, safe. Going to the polls, not safe. I mean, you can implement things. You can do hand sanitizers, make people wash hands, enforce masks. You can do a lot of different things if you really want voting in person to happen. But it's a lot easier to say, hey, mail in your vote, because you're at the mercy of mailing in a vote. And I get that they saw that. They seized an opportunity and they just completely went full force with it. Here's what they did not anticipate, though, that Trumpet is going to see their plan and he's going to actually go with it. He took the recommendation. He did what he was supposed to do. And in fact, he went ahead and shut down Hollywood. He saw things that were going on and he thought, okay, you want to do this? We'll do this. The other unintended benefit, it's much harder to have a mass scale false flag if everybody's inside their home. He saw this as an opportunity to ground planes and prevent fleeing in situations where indictments have been unsealed. And I do get that behind the scenes, there are arrests going on and there's other things going on. Like most of you, it'll be great to actually see it with our eyes and not speculate or wonder. But I do get that he really is moving forward with a lot of things that he's been trying to do. Lastly, they didn't see that a drug that's been on the market for decades and used by thousands of people that have had malaria and other ailments would be beneficial to this illness. They thought they could just unleash it on society and nothing would be out there. That we need an immunization to come in and save the day because nothing is going to, treat it. So you get this drug out there, even combining it with zinc and vitamin C to promote the effectiveness of it has factually proven to be helpful in a lot of medical situations. But I get that the reason that the left wants to fight it and put all this speculation and stuff out there is because if people thought that there was a way to heal from this and there was some kind of a medicine to help treat it, you're not going to be in that panic to feel like you need to rush and get an immunization. You're going to think about it. You're going to think about, is this in my greater good? Do I want this for me? Do I want this for my kids? All these other things. But they don't want that. They want you to think that this drug is harmful and it's going to do this, that, and the other thing. It's been around for decades. And I get, and I've done a lot of meditating. I've done a lot of thinking about all this to try to figure this out and make sense of it. But I get that's why they keep fighting it, because if you thought there was a solution, you're not going to maybe have their solution. So back to the powers that were in this whole agenda to put them back on their track, right? You got 20 years, you got to make up for this. They want to get on this socialist thing. They want to get in one world government. They want to get in a cashless society. They have to create a problem. They have to put a bunch of fear into it and then come in with a solution, which is their immunization. So combining an immunization with this antibody record imprint thing, putting a convenient way to check if people have had it, putting it in your hand. I in no way see this as a win-win for people. This will just further control on a completely different scale. They want to know what you buy, where you buy it, where you are, where you've been, where you're traveling. I mean, you name it. They're going to know everything about you, even down to if you've had an immunization or not. What medications are you on? What are you doing? They're going to be able to tap into all this. I also hear that the person that's preaching the population control is the one that heads the immunization. So what the heck is even going to be in this immunization? I get that, we have to be concerned with, is a future disease going to outbreak? Is there going to be cancer? Is it going to create people being sterile, not being able to have children, birth defects? I don't have a good vibe about any of this kind of stuff. And I truly see us headed this way if we don't rise our collective against it. We have to really try to, if you mitigate your fear, if you really focus on setting fear aside and just looking at it logically, from a logical standpoint, do your research, see what feels right for you. But if a guy on a paddleboard's getting arrested when he's in the middle of an ocean, or a guy with his daughter gets fined playing in the park, Walmart is safe to be at, even at a social distance. Just use your logic there, that something is more at play than a virus. And I will leave you with that. And thanks again for listening. Thanks for listening to all of this. Please feel free to leave a comment, get a discussion going. Don't forget to like me, share me, subscribe to my channel, all those great things that help me out. And if you want to check me out on Patreon, I have my link to that in the comment area as well in the description box. And for now, I am Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com. Thanks. Bye.